We've all played open-world games where the map is giant but completely empty. Just a massive, beautiful wasteland of nothingness where you spend 20 minutes running to a waypoint just to pick up a flower. That is not what we are talking about today. Today on Gaming, we are counting down the top 10 greatest open-world games across PC and console that actually got it right. These are worlds so dense, so packed with secrets that you will completely forget the main quest exists and just lose yourself in the environment. Let's dive in. Starting things off at number 10, we have to talk about a wasteland that had absolutely no right to be this good. When Mad Max launched back in 2015, it was completely overshadowed by bigger releases, which is a tragedy because Avalanche Studios did the impossible. They made an empty desert feel incredibly alive. The entire game loop revolves around your car, the Magnus Opus, turning the open world into a brutal, high-speed metal coliseum. Instead of walking around looking for traditional side quests, you are hunting down scrap convoys, tearing sniper towers down with a harpoon gun, and engaging in some of the heaviest, most satisfying vehicular combat ever coded. But the real showstopper is the dynamic weather system. When a localized superstorm rolls in, the sky turns pitch black, lightning strikes the sand around you, and massive chunks of flying metal debris turn the map into a literal war zone. It's an unforgiving sandbox that traded lush greenery for pure, unadulterated gasoline and rust, and it holds up beautifully today. Moving on to number 9, let's look at an ecosystem that serves as an absolute benchmark for modern hardware. Horizon Forbidden West takes the concept of a post-apocalyptic world and completely drenches it in vibrant, overgrown sci-fi majesty. You're exploring the ruined, decaying remnants of the American West, but it's been entirely reclaimed by nature and a hyper-complex food chain of giant, animalistic machine monsters. What makes this world structure special is how intensely alive the wildlife feels. You'll be walking through a dense, sunlit valley and see a herd of robotic deer grazing, only for a massive mechanical hawk to swoop down from the clouds and scatter them. The verticality and environmental variety here are staggering. One minute you're diving into fully realized bioluminescent underwater ruins of sunken cities, and the next you're climbing a snow-capped mountain peak to glide it down into a desert. The world acts as a massive tactical playground, forcing you to use the varied terrain to hide, set traps, and strategically shoot individual armor plates off a mechanical T-Rex. At number 8, we have a game that solved the biggest issue in the entire genre, the absolute boredom of travel. In most sandboxes, getting from point A to point B is a chore, which is why developers give you fast travel loading screens. Insomniac Games looked at that concept and completely flipped it on its head by turning Manhattan into a giant kinetic playground. The web-swinging physics are so fluid, momentum-based, and deeply satisfying that using the fast travel system feels like an insult to the game. You don't just move through this world, you flow through it. Diving off the Avengers Tower, pulling yourself through a narrow gap between two skyscrapers at Mach 2, and running horizontally across a brick wall feels completely seamless. Plus, the city itself isn't just a static background. As you swing closer to the pavement, you can hear pedestrians yelling your name, cops radioing in active car chases, and the entire city reacting to your presence in real time. It's a masterclass in making locomotion the absolute core of the sandbox experience. Number 7 is a title that succeeds by doing something incredibly brave. It trusts the player's intelligence. Ghost of Tsushima looked at the standard open-world clutter, the mini-maps, the flashing GPS lines, the intrusive compasses, and completely scrubbed them off the screen. Instead of staring at a digital UI, you navigate feudal Japan by listening to and watching the actual environment. If you want to find your next objective, you look at the wind, watching the way the grass bends and the cherry blossom petals blow across the screen. If there's a hidden shrine nearby, a golden bird will literally fly down and guide you through the bamboo forests. This minimalist approach forces you to look at the jaw-dropping beauty of the actual world rather than a corner of your monitor. Every field of red spider lilies, every foggy hot spring, and every rain-slicked samurai camp feels like a scene straight out of an old Akira Kurosawa film, creating an unrivaled level of historical immersion. If you're completely exhausted by the typical power fantasy of being a magical chosen hero who can slay dragons, number 6 is going to be a massive wake-up call. Kingdom Come Deliverance drops you into 15th century Bohemia, and you play as Henry, a completely broke, illiterate son of a blacksmith. You don't know how to ride a horse properly, you can't read a book without the letters scrambling, and if you pick up a heavy sword, you will literally swing it like a clumsy idiot. The world here is brutally, wonderfully hyper-realistic. If you stroll into a high-end town covered in mud and enemy blood, the local guards will treat you like a violent vagrant, shopkeepers will inflate their prices, and nobles will refuse to speak to you. The forests are genuinely terrifying at night because there is no ambient video game lighting, it is pitch black, and if you get ambushed by 3 bandits in a dark bush, you are dead. It's an open world where the environment doesn't bow down to you. You have to adapt, learn real survival skills, and earn your place in its society. Coming in at number 5, we have the greatest redemption story in gaming, which also happens to be the most visually dense sci-fi landscape ever built. Night City isn't just a map, it's a claustrophobic, beautiful dystopian monster. Unlike most games that expand outward across flat plains, Cyberpunk 2007 expands vertically, building a hyper-urban maze of towering mega-buildings, shady alleyways, and corporate skyscrapers that slice through the smog. Walking through the neon-drenched streets of Watson while rain reflects off the concrete, listening to different languages spoken on every street corner, and watching the corrupt corporate elite flying above the slums creates an unparalleled cyberpunk atmosphere. The world feels deeply alive in its decay. You can hop into a futuristic hypercar, turn on a fictional rock station, and just drive through the distinct sub-districts for hours without picking up a single weapon, purely to absorb the raw architectural storytelling. Think about this for a second. It has been well over a decade since Grand Theft Auto originally launched, and yet its map, Los Santos, still fundamentally embarrasses open worlds that came out this year. Rockstar games are the absolute undisputed kings of micro-details that most players will never even notice. If you walk around the venue Wood Hills as Franklin, pedestrians will pull out their phones and take pictures of you. If you drive a dirty car past a group of upper-class citizens, they will make snide remarks. The traffic AI behaves like actual human drivers. They get frustrated, they honk at you, and they will flip you off if you cut them off. The world operates on a complex, fully automated simulation of a cynical modern society that exists completely independent of the player. It's a timeless, chaotic sandbox where the physics are so robust that you can launch a motorcycle off a mountain peak and the game handles the collision flawlessly. Our number 3 spot goes to a dark fantasy world that completely revolutionized how writers design side content. In most open-world games, a side mission is a boring fetch quest where you help an NPC find 5 lost chickens. In The Witcher 3, there is no filler. Every single point of interest on the continent feels like a premium, dark fantasy television episode. You could be riding your horse through a war-torn muddy swamp, overhear a random villager crying about a ghost, and suddenly find yourself deep in a 5-hour investigation involving ancient forest curses, moral gray areas, and terrifying monsters straight out of Slavic mythology. The world feels old, exhausted, and deeply atmospheric. The wind violently bends trees during thunderstorms, the sun sets like an oil painting over Velen, and the local peasants treat you like a mutant freak, creating an incredibly rich, grim narrative backdrop. At number 2, we have a game that looked at the modern open-world formula, completely broke it over its knee, and threw it in the trash. Elden Ring doesn't give you quest logs. It doesn't give you map markers. It doesn't give you a mini-map, and it absolutely refuses to hold your hand. From Software built the Lands Between on one core human emotion, pure organic curiosity. You stand on a cliffside, look out into the distance, and see a massive, terrifying golden tree or a gothic castle hanging over a swamp, and you just ride toward it. There are no icons telling you what's there. The map design is a masterpiece of vertical layered complexity. You could find an unassuming elevator in a random ruin, take it down for 2 solid minutes, and discover an entire hidden, star-lit underground civilization that is larger than most standalone video game maps. It forces you to actually explore and discover secrets naturally, making every single discovery feel like a massive personal achievement. Come on, you knew exactly what was sitting at number 1. Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't just an open world, it is a terrifyingly detailed, living, breathing historical simulator. The level of obsession Rockstar poured into this environment borders on psychological madness. The ecosystem is fully simulated. You can sit in the bush with binoculars and watch a hawk swoop down, grab a snake from the grass, and fly away. NPCs have full 24-hour schedules. They go to work, they have lunch at the saloon, and if you get into a bar fight with them, they will wear bandages the next day and remember your face. The way mud dynamically sticks to Arthur's boots, the way horse coats accumulate dust, and the way the entire camp dynamics shift based on the story is unmatched. You can literally spend 4 hours just hunting in the snowy mountains, fishing in a quiet river, and riding through a foggy forest without interacting with a single main mission. And it will still be the most immersive experience you've ever had in media. It is the absolute gold standard. So, which of these massive open worlds did you spend the most hours completely losing your sanity in? Are you a samurai wandering Tsushima? A cyberpunk street kid in Night City? Or a lone outlaw in New Hanover? Drop your hours and your thoughts down in the comments below. If this deep dive gave you a new map to download or made you want to reinstall an old favorite, smash that like button and subscribe to Stock Gaming. We are pushing hard for that 4,000 watch hours milestone, and every single subscription helps immensely. Thanks a ton for watching, stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next sandbox.